Would you survive a horror movie? Let's find out with the best games like Until Dawn you can play right now. When we think about who we would be in a horror movie, we'd all like to think we'd make it to the sun coming up. But truthfully, we can't all be final girls. Some of us need to be the one who thought it was a good idea to go swimming at Camp Crystal Lake. Oh well. PS4 exclusive Until Dawn is a perfect indicator of just how you would fare in a slasher movie situation. But that's not exactly helpful for our survival skills on PC. The good news is that there are plenty of terrifying experiences that make scary movies all too real. And a couple of more narrative-based choice-em-ups if all the horror gets too much. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to make sure you never miss another video. For now though, here are the best games like Until Dawn you can play right now on PC.
Oh my god, this is perfect. We're like the cutest couple.
It makes the most sense to start with the creepy follow-ups from the original dev team. While Until Dawn remains a PS4 exclusive, Supermassive Games' follow-up, the Dark Pictures Anthology, is available on PC. Man of Medan kicked off the collection last year with its unnerving floating ghost story, while the Will Poulter starring Little Hope is released this month. Both games have embraced the fact that interactive horror is best played together, and now come with a movie night mode where you can pass the controller with up to 4 other people.
Drop it, Buster.
This way, there's always someone to blame when things go exceptionally wrong, or, someone to watch on in utter horror as something happens on screen while they're taking a drink. Supermassive Games knows its horror movies, meaning that, just like Until Dawn, there are more than a few nods and winks to silver screen classics. That and running and, well, screaming.
Hey, Andrew, buddy, how you doing?
Where are we? What happened?
Yeah, the bus crashed. We're okay though, just shaken up.
Where Until Dawn is a finely scripted roller coaster of an interactive horror movie,
What's up, party people?
Friday the 13th, the game, is the complete opposite. But, and this is a big but, it's the closest you'll get outside of Until Dawn to experiencing your very own personal slasher movie. Will you be the final girl, ruthlessly abandoning your fellow counsellors and making the most of their deaths to find a way out? Perhaps you'll prove the movies wrong and actually use the jock's brute strength as a survival technique. Or maybe you'll just run and hope for the best. Settling down to a Voorhees session with friends is truly like stepping into Camp Crystal Lake. With different evolutions of Jason to choose from and an unrivaled attention to detail when it comes to the grisly history of the franchise, you'll be singing Voorhees a Jolly Good Fellow in no time. Or not.
Didn't some mom go nuts and kill some camp counselors?
Exactly. But they say her son, Jason, came back to get his revenge. He still lurks the woods to this day.
Let's stay brave and stick to the horror theme. Layers of Fear doesn't have quite the same level of choice as something like Until Dawn. But it does a great job of constantly taking you forward on a relentless ghost train. Where other scary titles are content to let you hide under beds or cupboards for days at a time, Bloober Team wants to keep you moving forward to the next jump scare. It's very different from something like Outlast, But if you're looking for a narrative experience that'll spook you and not make you restart for the 20th time, then this journey through a murderous artist's brain makes for a brilliant thrill ride. It also happily ticks off the scariest tropes list without feeling tired. Creepy dolls, horrible paintings, and things that go bump in the night have never felt quite this unpredictable. You could say it paint bad.
It's hopeless. I just can't take it anymore.
David Cage's Heavy Rain might err away from supernatural nasties, but it turns out that the human monsters at work here are just as grim to experience. Another tightly wound narrative journey where you have plenty of key choices to make and therefore painful mistakes to endure. This immersive criminal investigation only arrived on PC in 2020.
Very interesting. And where does all that get us?
This means you might actually have missed all the Press X to Jason memes from a whole decade ago, and can just experience the story of the origami killer in its untainted state. Flicking between 4 different characters, Heavy Rain is a clever combination of puzzling and face-pulling decision-making that makes it the perfect interactive thriller experience. And just as a warning, just like Until Dawn, your investigation here can spill even more blood than the serial killer's spree. But don't let that put you off. Good luck. It might sound like a left-field addition, but Resident Evil 7 feels like the direct result of its developers watching as many horror movies as possible. The introduction of the Baker Mansion feels like our worst found footage nightmares of all time, and Dinner with the Folks is straight out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's time for supper.
Who are all you people?
Even being chased by the bearded Jack Baker feels like being pursued by one of the iconic slasher villains. A physics-defying super-powered uber monster who just can't be killed, even when you think you've rid yourself for good.
Do I have your attention, boy? You're about to see some wonderful.
Oh, and then there's Lucas, the Jigsaw-inspired son who even brings dolls into his sadistic traps. And how do we experience so many of the different sections of the game? Through VHS tapes, the same way that so many of us experienced our first sneaky look at movies that were far too scary for us.
What do you see? What is it?
Joining Jason as another official horror tie-in is the Blair Witch game. Yes, it's another mention of Bloober Team, but just like Layers of Fear, this is another effortlessly steered descent into horror. The addition of the iconography of the indie found footage darling makes for an unnerving interactive movie experience.
Okay, I know I'm not making any sense right now, but that's the thing.
Holding those branch dolls in your pixelated hand is such genuine nightmare fuel that you might quickly become aware of your own snot situation. What's even worse as you make your way through the woods on the hunt for a missing child, joined by an adorable doggo, is that you know exactly what lurks in the darkness. Fighting literal demons with your torch is one thing, but arriving at the house from the finale of the movie, complete with handprints, camera in hand, is an interactive horror movie experience that might be too much for those who have read any Blair Witch lore. Fine, if Bloober Team can have 2 entries, so can Quantic Dream. David Cage's Detroit Become Human is absolutely the least horrific game on this list. But that might depend on how scary you find oh so lifelike AI. Uncanny Valley, Population U. Detroit Become Human might not be an interactive horror movie per se, but that ache of stress as you make life or death decisions will be reassuringly familiar.
I'm your last chance, Daniel. If you let it slip, they'll kill you. Let the hostage go. You have no other choice.
This journey is one that will routinely go in the opposite direction you would like. And there's no one to blame but yourself as you flick between the androids Kara, Connor and Marcus. Just like Heavy Rain, every decision matters. And while you can actually see the probabilities of certain conclusions, there are multiple branching narratives that mean no playthrough will be alike. And don't think they'll be easy. There's no right or wrong answers in this morally grey soup. But please, drink up. It'll probably be fine.
I think we can go now.
You prick. I don't know what's stopping me from knocking you out.
Your sense of duty, Lieutenant. And the cost of repairs if you damage me.
Just when you thought you'd seen the last of found footage, in comes the ludicrously scary Phasmophobia. You can see our full thoughts in the video in the link on screen now. But this experience falls firmly into paranormal activity territory as you set up cameras to spot ghost orbs and lay down ghost journals. While it always descends into screaming, ghosts and terror, it's the first half of the Phasmophobia experience that's the most like a classic haunted house movie. Perhaps things aren't where they're supposed to be as you and your intrepid ghost hunting friends go hunting for evidence. Maybe the lights are flickering and suddenly you can see the breath in front of your face as the temperature suddenly drops. You've seen all this before in horror movies and it never, ever ends well for the protagonists. And when things go badly, as they probably will, there's even a beyond to wander around in as a ghost. Thanks, Poltergeist, for nothing. And finally, we'll stay firmly in gory horror territory. Don't Nod Entertainment's Vampyr ticks a couple of Until Dawn adjacent boxes. First off, it's a gore-slurping scarefest with more B positive than your local blood bank. But secondly, there are choices galore when it comes to exactly how you choose to spend your time as a creature of the night. Do you, once a doctor, continue to be one, helping people and not chowing down on them like walking Happy Meals?
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
Or do you affect the entire area by ripping out throats by the dozen and sating your vampiric desires while levelling up skills all over the shop? Sure, you won't level up as fast without blood, and you have to drain rats like tiny juice cartons instead, but aren't all those citizens worth your thirst? Maybe don't answer that.
I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you? I don't know if a third opinion is needed.
So that's the games to play on PC if you love Until Dawn. Let us know the horror movie and narrative experiences you love in the comments below. Drop us a like if you enjoyed the scares, and subscribe to Logitech G for more videos just like this one. If you do already subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when our next video lands. Until then, sleep well